So let's continue the Nightmare series with Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Now, this one, in a lot of ways, to me, changed up the films in a way where it's not as good, but it's still totally fine. Like, I really, honestly, do really like this fourth film. I think this fourth film was actually really underrated, honestly. I feel like people crap on this one and 4, 5, and 5 and 6, this trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, that Freddy gets extremely funny or humorous in these movies after the third one. As in the first three where he doesn't speak much, in this one he is front and center. This is the first one where he is billed, first billed in the movie, which was interesting. I do enjoy this movie, but it's just you can tell the difference with the humor and how much Freddy is a pop icon now. Like, he is literally like pop status, so he is there front and center, which does not bother me much. This one especially, like, I felt like out of the 3, 4, 5, and 6, this one is it has humor, but it's not as overly over the top as 5 and as 6, and in 5, I can't remember if it's as humorous as this, but anyways, I liked how Rennie Harlan directed this. Apparently online I read that Rennie Harlan was living in his car and he had to, like, literally go up to Robert Shea, like, every single day, like, to try to convince him to go make this movie. And Robert Shea, I guess, had a change of heart and let him do it. So he made the movie, and the movie made, I think, the most out of the whole franchise besides, I think, Freddy vs. Jason and maybe I don't know about the remake. I don't know what the remake made. I think it made money, but I can't remember. But this is one of the highest grossing ones out of all of them, which is really cool. Because this one, I think, is one of the ones that deserved it more than, like, I don't know, like, I don't think any of the Nightmare movies are awful, but I guess this one deserves it more than a few different ones, but I really liked how Rennie Harlan directed this. Like, it's funny seeing, like, you can't tell it's him directing. Like, he has a style, but it didn't feel like it was really that much in this one. It wasn't like his other ones, which is totally fine. Like, it's not an action movie. He did a lot of action movies more than a horror movie, so... But I did think his directing was good in this. Like, he did a good job with everything involved in this movie. I felt like this one is still almost as good as the first 3. It just has more humor in it, which takes it down a tad, but not by, like, a lot. And I'll get to the other thing that makes me not think this is as good as the first 3. But the opening song is really cool. I really love the opening credits. Like, that's a cool... And I think this is the... Is this the first one with a quote at the beginning, or was it 3? I don't remember. It was either this one or the third one that started out with a quote at the beginning. It might have been the... I can't remember now. God. But anyways... I like the opening, and then whenever the movie starts, rewatching it, I'm like, oh yeah, Kristen was replaced by Tuesday Night, like Patricia Arquette was replaced. And she's totally fine. I don't know why Patricia Arquette didn't come back or wasn't able to come back, but it sucks because Patricia Arquette in the third one was really, really good. Like, that's her first role in a movie, and she was fantastic in the third one. I loved her in the third one. And in this one, Tuesday Night is totally fine, but it's so obvious it's not Patricia Arquette, so I'm just sitting there like, God, I wish that... I kind of... Well, I don't wish that they killed her off immediately, because they do kill her off in this movie, of course, but it's so distracting that it's a different person. It's just like, oh, okay, that's awesome. She's a new person, but... And she's not as good as Patricia Arquette, but she's fine. She's totally a fine actress in this movie, Tuesday Night. And I did like I didn't like the fact that they killed off Joey Kincaid and Kristen, but it took like half the movie to kill them all off, so I guess that's not a terrible thing. It's just annoying whenever they kill off the survivors of the last one. They do that in this one, but it's not as insulting as like something like Halloween Resurrection. It's like, yeah, they get killed off, but I didn't mind these new characters either. Like, I didn't mind the new characters in 4 either. Like, I thought they were totally fine too, so it didn't annoy me as much as other horror movies where they kill off the survivor in the next movie. And they already did that in Nightmare 3 with Nancy, but it's like, Like, you didn't get much of Kristen. She literally has the third movie, and then in this one, she's there for half the movie and then dies. But I do love the fact that she connects with Alice, Lisa Wilcox's character, the new main character of the film, and then in 5, the main character too, who is awesome, by the way. She is great. Alice is such a cool character. So I guess even though that they kill off the other characters from the third one, I did like how they did put some effort into saying like these character, like the character Alice and Kristen, are good friends in this movie, and I love how they have a connection where whenever Alice gains Kristen's power before she dies, I like the fact that Alice, like, it seems like it's warranted because these characters were together before in the movie, and they actually had good like chemistry. They were fun friends with each other, Kristen and Alice, and I liked how it felt like it worked whenever Alice was shifted into the movie to become the main character and Kristen died. I felt like they put effort into trying not to just immediately kill off these characters, like to give them a proper send-off before they die, because that's what I like about this franchise. They don't just immediately kill off these characters and do it in an insulting way where it's like, you don't care about them because they were in the last one, but in this one, they just die immediately. No, this one, they spend half the movie, I think like 40, well, not half the movie, I guess a quarter, almost 50% of the movie, because it's like 40, 45 minutes into the movie, where, well, that would be half then, it's an hour and a half, but I did like how they gave these characters a lot to do before they died. Like, it wasn't just they popped up and they died. I thought that was good that they did have some time before they died on screen, so I did like that, even though they killed off the main characters. I did enjoy the characters in this movie, and I thought that they were fine, and the Kristen and Alice characters did have a cool connection, so it felt more authentic whenever Alice was switched over to be the main character, and Kristen gave her the power that Kristen had. And this is always silly to me, and I think Rennie Harlan thought it was silly too, but like there's, like in the movie, Freddy comes back because Kincaid is in his dream, and it's in the car lot, like from the third movie where Freddy's skull was, and his dog pees on the ground, and that's what brings Freddy back to life. That to me, I don't dislike that, but it does make sense more in how they're going on a sillier route. But it's not overly silly. It's just like, oh, a dog pee brought back Freddy because dog peed in that spot, and then that reanimated Freddy. Like that, just, I don't know, like that's silly, but it doesn't bother me too much. It's like, even whenever this is the most campiest in this franchise, it doesn't bother me still. It's just like, that's okay. That's an interesting decision for you. All right. And like I said, Freddy is way more talkative whenever he comes back in this one. Like, he is front and center in this movie, and it's totally fine because Robert Englund, I think, is fantastic in these movies. Like, every one of them, I love him in all these movies. He's so great. But it's a very different change in this one towards the last three. And the Alice character, I really thought was awesome. I think she is the second best final girl after Nancy, because Nancy, of course, was the first, and she died in the third one, but I love how Alice is the main character in this one, and she is a badass character. Like, she fights to live, and I love how she does that like Nancy did, and she even does it more than Nancy in a way. Like, she fights to live, and I love the fact that with the story element of the mirror, like her and her brother, there's a scene of her and her brother in a room, and he's like, what's the point of the mirror if you have all the pictures put up? And there's pictures covering the whole mirror, and Alice is like, I don't want to see what I look like. But by the end of the movie, after every one of her friends dies, she inherits their abilities and becomes a stronger person and takes the pictures off the mirror, and that's how she gets in there to fight Freddy. So that was a really cool story element. Like, I really think that's underrated for a horror movie. That this character fights Freddy, but does it with the help of her friends and does it overcoming herself. Like, it's just such a cool thing that is really underrated and nobody ever mentions. Like, I really enjoy that about this movie, and this Alice character is great. She's really interesting because this is a character who is quiet and doesn't want to, like, is a quiet, timid girl, and then, like, as the movie goes along, she gets more of a fighter, and I enjoy that. And I don't know, like, the final fight is great. I like how in the end, like, all of Freddy's victims go in and, like, come out of his body and start, like, ripping him apart. Like, that's really effective and really cool, like, creative. Again, this is another creative, unique Friday film, or Friday Nightmare film like the other ones, where you look at it like, this one, it's like, there's a Dream Master instead of Dream Warriors. Like, Alice is the master, like, now that Kristen was in the last one. So now she is fighting to stop Freddy, and of course she kills him again, like he gets killed in every movie, but he comes back. Of course, there's more movies, but again, I just enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the kills too. The kills are really cool and creative. The Sheila girl, whenever she's got asthma, so whenever Freddy in his dream says, "You want to suck face?" and she goes, "No," and then he, like, literally sucks all the air out of her, and then she wakes up and she dies from, like, asthma, like she just literally can't breathe and she dies, and that's really a cool death. And then Joey, whenever he dies, dies in the waterbed because, like, he takes his blanket off and it's literal water underneath, and there's a naked girl that he has on his poster, and he's trying to get to her, but then Freddy pops out, pulls him in there, and gets him. That's, again, another creatively cool kill. And then Debbie turning into a cockroach, which is one of the coolest deaths in any of the movies, because it shows her literally arms get ripped open. She gets little arms that are cockroach arms, and then you realize that she's in a cockroach hotel, and Freddy just crushes her. Like, it's very on the nose humor, but I really enjoy that. Like, I like how this one, even though I don't dislike any of the films, it's great to see this type of Freddy in it. Like, he really did change in this one from the first three. He was way more talkative, way more of a pop icon. Like, he literally, that he's gotten famous. But he's awesome in this movie, and everything is great about this movie. I really think that it is really an underrated sequel. And again, like, the little things that irked me, talking about it in this review, I think I actually enjoy more. Like I said, with killing off the main characters in the last one, they gave them enough time in this movie to give them, like, a full-fledged, like, full circle thing, kind of like Nancy in 3. But I don't know, like, that doesn't bother me as much anymore, just thinking about it. So overall, this one just really is underrated, and I think people should enjoy this one a lot more. It's more humorous, but I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining. I think this is a very enjoyable movie with a great main character, a great version of Freddy that's really fun. Kills are great. Performances are great. The story's great. Like I said, using that mirror, that's such a cool story dynamic to it. I love that. So overall, this one's awesome. Really great rewatch. I really enjoyed rewatching this one this time.